This is live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India NewsHour, DD India, India's voice to the world. I'm Sakal Bhatt, and coming up in the next hour, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates 18th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention, says today's India strongly amplifies the voice of the Global South. Lebanon's parliament elects Army Chief Joseph Aoun head of state. He's the fifth Lebanese army commander to be elected as president in country's history. Rampaging wildfires around LA or Los Angeles forced thousands to flee. 5 dead so far. New blaze in Hollywood Hills prompts mass evacuation. And Kho Kho Federation of India announces men's and women's squads for the Kho Kho World Cup 2025. Inaugural edition to have 39 teams from 23 countries. Prime Minister of India Narendra Modi inaugurated the 18th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention on Thursday. He urged the Indian diaspora to become stakeholders in India's growth journey. DD India's Amritpal Singh reports from Bhubaneswar.
Highlighting India's rapid growth, breaking all records, Prime Minister Modi expressed optimism that the day is not far when the Indian diaspora will travel to participate in this event in planes made in India. He also emphasized that Indians can easily connect with any country they move to. He said the hearts of Indian diaspora continues to beat for India.
भारत की प्रगति की गति सारे रिकॉर्ड तोड़ रही है। आज भारत मेड इन इंडिया फाइटर जेट बना रहा है, ट्रांसपोर्ट एयरक्राफ्ट बना रहा है, और वो दिन भी दूर नहीं जब आप किसी मेड इन इंडिया प्लेन से ही प्रवासी भारतीय दिवस मनाने भारत आएंगे। साथियों, भारत के ये जो अचीवमेंट्स हैं, ये जो प्रोस्पेक्ट्स आज भारत में दिख रहे हैं, इसके कारण भारत की वैश्विक भूमिका बढ़ रही है।
Highlighting the outstanding contributions of the Indian diaspora, the Prime Minister said diversity lies in the heart of Indians.
हमें डायवर्सिटी सिखानी नहीं पड़ती, हमारा जीवन ही डायवर्सिटी से चलता है। इसलिए भारतीय जहां भी जाते हैं, वहां की सोसाइटी के साथ जुड़ जाते हैं। हम जहां जाते हैं, वहां के रूल्स, वहां के ट्रेडिशंस की रिस्पेक्ट करते हैं।
Prime Minister Modi also virtually flagged off the Pravasi Bharatiya Express, a special tourist train for the Indian diaspora that started its journey from the Nizamuddin railway station in Delhi and will travel to multiple destinations of tourism and religious importance across the country for a period of 3 weeks. The Prime Minister also inaugurated 4 exhibitions: the Vishwaroop Ram, the Universal Legacy of Ramayana, another one displaying the diaspora's contribution to technology, and Viksit Bharat, or Developed India. He also inaugurated an exhibition showcasing the historic journey of Indians who have settled in Oman for centuries. This exhibition showcased the rare documents of people who had migrated from Mandvi in Gujarat to Muscat in Oman. The Prime Minister made a special request to preserve the history of Girmitya Indians' migration. A delegation of over 300 members from Oman attended the convention. Appreciating the significant role played by the Indian diaspora in global development, Prime Minister Modi urged them for a deeper engagement with India's developmental journey, promising them that their motherland will always stand by them in their hour of need. With cameraman Sanjay Jaina, this is Amritpal Singh for DD India in Bhubaneswar.
Prime Minister Modi also inaugurated the 18th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention in Bhubaneswar in Orissa on Thursday. In his address, the Prime Minister emphasized the significance of historical site Dauli and remarked that while much of the world expanded empires through force, Dauli stood as a beacon of harmony.
दुनिया में जब तलवार के जोर पर साम्राज्य बढ़ाने का दौर था, तब हमारे सम्राट अशोक ने यहां शांति का रास्ता चुना था। हमारी इस विरासत का ये वही बल है जिसकी प्रेरणा से आज भारत दुनिया को कह पाता है कि भविष्य युद्ध में नहीं है, बुद्ध में है।
The Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention 2025 has emerged as a forum for diaspora voices from across the globe to come together and engage with each other and the Government of India at one platform. DD India's Amritpal Singh caught up with two such members of the diaspora who spoke on the critical issue of Nari Shakti or women empowerment.
I have with me two participants. One is from Norway, Lavlina, and Sakal is from Qatar. Sakala is from Qatar. Both ladies, thank you very much for speaking to DD India. First of all, tell me, you are here participating in a women empowerment panel discussion. Have things changed in India? How do you think these discussions are going to lead to further accelerating this pace of change?
I think many things has changed in India. Now, recently we have seen a huge development in India. But if I look back in when I was young and when I was living in Norway in 80s, the only role model I had, women in leader positions, it was Indira Gandhi. We hadn't any female prime minister in Europe. So for me, India has been the place where I can find role models, where I can get inspiration. So I think we have been on the right path.
When you look back at India, when you visit India, are things changing here and what needs to change more?
Well, one of the things that I find increasingly the awareness that people have on IT and also the fact that I think India is ahead of the curve in anything to do with IT. Take, for example, Prime Minister Modi has taken forward the Paytm or, the UPI system all over the world, all over the Middle East. It has been introduced. I think what we need to understand also is, and I personally believe this, that India needs to increase the amount of safety for women. Okay, that is a global phenomenon happening all over the world. I live in Qatar. Qatar is one of the safest places for women and children. Safest. I mean, like, I've lived there for 24 years and I cannot tell you such. I wish the Indian government does a little more for safety. They're doing a lot for empowerment. They're doing a lot in the education field. They're doing a lot in the infrastructure, highways and things like that. Healthcare is taking up a lot of the space. Defense and technology, but I wish they increase the amount of safety. For example, increase the number of police women, increase the number of call centers for police women, even in small places.
These kind of conversations are taking place here at the 2025 PBD. There is a lot that India can learn from its diaspora and engage with its diaspora for a mutually beneficial relationship. With cameraman Sanjay Jaina, this is Amritpal Singh for DD India at the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas in Bhubaneswar.
Pravasi Bharatiya Divas was celebrated in Kathmandu on Thursday to recognize the contributions of the Indian diaspora to India's development. Indian Citizens Association of Nepal, in association with the Embassy of India, celebrated the Pravasi Day. President of the Indian Association of Nepal, Manoj Kandoi, elaborated on the contributions of the Indian diaspora to Nepal's growth.
इस कार्यक्रम के माध्यम से दुनिया के लगभग सभी देशों में रह रहे भारतीय प्रवासियों के सुख दुख, कठिनाइयों, उपलब्धियों जैसे विषयों पर उनके साथ प्रत्यक्ष संवाद करके भारत सरकार को उनके पक्ष से अवगत होने का अवसर मिलता है। साथ ही प्रवासी भारतीयों की ऊर्जा का उपयोग उनकी प्रिय मातृभूमि भी कर सके, इसकी योजना भी भारत सरकार बनाती रहती है।
India's Department of Biotechnology scheduled a one-day genomics data conclave on 9th of January in Vigyan Bhavan in National Capital. And during the event, a special video address was delivered by Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, highlighting the importance of Genome India data. DD India's correspondent Tapush Bhattacharya with more inputs.
India has taken a giant leap in genomics research with the Department of Biotechnology's flagship project, Genome India. This ambitious initiative has successfully completed whole genome sequencing of 10,000 individuals from diverse Indian populations, creating a comprehensive catalogue of genetic variations. Prime Minister Narendra Modi officially unveiled the Genome India data via a special video address.
इस प्रोजेक्ट की मदद से हम देश में एक डाइवर्स जेनेटिक रिसोर्स बनाने में सफल हुए हैं। इस प्रोजेक्ट के तहत देश में अलग अलग आबादियों से जुड़े 10,000 लोगों की जीनोम सीक्वेंसिंग की गई है। अब ये डेटा हमारे वैज्ञानिकों को, रिसर्चर्स को उपलब्ध होने जा रहा है। इससे हमारे स्कॉलर्स को, हमारे साइंटिस्ट को भारत का जेनेटिक लैंडस्केप समझने में बहुत बड़ी मदद मिलेगी।
The Prime Minister praised this milestone as a game changer for healthcare, research and innovation in India.
जीनोम इंडिया प्रोजेक्ट भारत की बायोटेक्नोलॉजी रिवॉल्यूशन का एक महत्वपूर्ण पड़ाव है। 21वीं सदी में बायोटेक्नोलॉजी और बायोमास का कॉम्बिनेशन बायो इकोनॉमी के रूप में विकसित भारत की बुनियाद का अहम हिस्सा है। बायो इकोनॉमी का लक्ष्य होता है नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज का सही इस्तेमाल, बायो बेस्ड प्रोडक्ट्स और सर्विसेज का प्रमोशन और इस सेक्टर में रोजगार के नए मौके बनाना। बायो इकोनॉमी सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट को गति देती है, इनोवेशन को अवसर देती है। मुझे खुशी है कि बीते 10 वर्षों में देश की बायो इकोनॉमी तेजी से आगे बढ़ी है।
The groundbreaking data generated by a consortium of 20 laboratories across India is now housed at the Indian Biological Data Centre (IBDC), managed by the Regional Centre for Biotechnology. To facilitate seamless access and sharing of this data, the DBT has introduced the Framework for Exchange of Data (FEED) protocols developed under the Biotech Pride guidelines. Dr. Jitendra Singh, Minister of Science and Technology, released the FEED protocols and inaugurated the IBDC Data Access Portal, marking a significant step forward in empowering research and advancing genome science in India. Tapas Bhattacharya's report for DD India.
And still to come on DD India NewsHour. Coming up next, we get you a report on how heavily armed commandos attacked the presidential palace in Chad capital, N'Djamena. And bill in United States House seeks to revoke Pakistan as major non-NATO ally. We get you the details on that one as well. And Trump's pick for national security advisor backs his claims to acquire Greenland.
Goa, a wild nature paradise, where over a third of the state remains wild today, and every corner is full of surprises. Goa's forests evolved through the seasons. Insects and crocodiles flourish in the monsoon, butterflies in the months after the rains subside, and in the winter, the jungle transforms into a haven for birds. Oh, there's a female right next to him. Oh my God, is that 8 otters? That's one of my favorite things about these forests. There are still so many secrets out there. Watch postcards from Goa on National Geographic.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Sakal Bhatt. Moving on, in a shocking news from Chad, a heavily armed commando attacked the presidential palace in the capital N'Djamena. This on Wednesday evening before being overpowered by the presidential guards. The Chad government maintains that there are 19 people that have been killed in the fighting, of which 18 were members of the commando unit that launched this assault. Remember, Chad is the 5th largest country in Africa. Saeed Absarul Hassan of DD India gets us this report.
Gunmen launched an attack on the Chad's presidential complex in N'Djamena on Wednesday, sparking a battle that left 18 attackers and 1 security personnel dead and several others injured. Chad's security forces say that they have foiled an attack from the unknown assailants near the presidential complex. Hours after the shooting, government spokesperson Kalamullah appeared in a video posted to Facebook surrounded by soldiers and with a gunshot on his belt, saying the situation is completely under control.
I am currently at the presidential palace, where the situation is completely under control. There is no cause for concern, nothing serious. I am currently at the presidential palace. As you can see, there is absolutely nothing happening. Everything is calm, and I want you to feel reassured. We are here, and we will defend our country at the cost of our blood. This attempt to destabilize has been eradicated.
The streets of N'Djamena were calm on Thursday morning as police patrolled a day after security forces foiled an attack on Chad's presidential complex. A government spokesperson said the overnight incident involved a disorganized group of intoxicated men armed with knives and matches who were easily neutralized. According to officials, Chad President Mohamed Idrissi Deby was in the presidential complex at the time of the attack. The incident comes 2 weeks after Chad held parliamentary elections, which were boycotted by the main opposition. The attack coincided with an official visit by Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi to Chad. Hours before the shooting erupted, Wang Yi had met the Chad's President Deby and other senior officials. Deby seized power after rebels killed his father, longest-standing President Idrissi Deby, in 2021. The older Deby had ruled Chad since a coup in the early 1990s. Syed Absarul Hassan for DD India.
In some developing news, there is no let-up in wildfires in Los Angeles, which has triggered forced evacuations of at least 100,000 people, with homes and properties worth millions being consumed by the raging flames. The fire has also engulfed some affluent communities, including top celebrities' homes. Over 1,000 buildings, including residential houses, business establishments and landmarks, have been destroyed reportedly, making it the most destructive fire or wildfire ever in LA County. Meanwhile, outgoing US President Joe Biden has cancelled his trip to Rome. Instead, he chooses to stay in Washington, D.C. to monitor the response to the catastrophic fire in California. Dheeraj Das of DD India gets us more details in this report.
These are the images of wildfires that continued over the Studio City and Pacific Palisades neighborhoods of Los Angeles, California on Thursday. These fires have brought severe loss of lives and property. At least 5 people have been killed. Hundreds of homes have been destroyed. Hollywood actors Billy Crystal, Leighton Meester, Paris Hilton lost their homes to the fast-spreading wildfires. Jamie Lee Curtis, Mandy Moore, James Wood and other celebrities were among more than 100,000 people forced to flee. The Hollywood Hills blazed uncontrollably on Thursday morning as the worst wildfires in the history of Los Angeles raged across the city and deep into the storied heartland of the American film industry. A crescent of flames squeezed Los Angeles in a huge pincer visible from space. The largest blaze consumed nearly 12,000 acres of Pacific Palisades, a picturesque neighborhood between the beach towns of Santa Monica and Malibu that is home to many film, television, and music stars. Many evacuees, including both ordinary residents and high-profile individuals, were forced to seek shelter elsewhere.
I think it's something that happens often, so I think we're kind of used to it. But, you know, it is a tourist area, so that's sad.
Los Angeles authorities said that their municipal water systems were working effectively, but they were designed for an urban environment, not for tackling wildfires. LA County Fire Chief Anthony said his crews were overwhelmed by the scale and speed of the unfolding disaster. US President Joe Biden, who was in Los Angeles with California Governor Gavin Newsom, was briefed.
We're prepared for anything and everything as long as it takes to contain these fires and help reconstruct. Make sure we get back to normal. It's going to be a hell of a long way. It's going to take time.
The wildfires that have ravaged parts of Los Angeles may have burned down an estimated $52 billion to $57 billion in preliminary damage and economic losses. This is according to preliminary estimates by commercial weather forecasting service provider AccuWeather. Meanwhile, the announcement of the 97th Academy Awards nominations has been delayed from the 17th of January to the 19th due to devastating wildfires in Southern California. Dheeraj Das's report for DD India.
Prominent US Republican Congressman Andy Biggs has reintroduced legislation in the House of Representatives seeking to terminate Pakistan's designation as a major non-NATO ally. Biggs argued that Pakistan ties to militant groups remain a critical concern for US foreign policy. The legislation stipulates that the US president must certify Pakistan's active efforts in combating terrorism before the designation can be maintained. This bill was first introduced in 2019 and reintroduced in every Congress since has yet to gain traction in legislative proceedings. Well, staying with news coming from US, Mike Waltz, Trump's pick for national security advisor, has spoken in support of the suggestion that the US should take control of the Greenland. Waltz said on Wednesday that Greenland is important for the United States because of its critical minerals and natural resources. Waltz further noted that strategic necessity due to growing Russian and Chinese influence in the Arctic, each deploying advanced icebreaker fleets. Shifting focus to Lebanon, where Army Chief Joseph Aoun, who is a US-backed Army Chief, is going to be Lebanon's next president, ending a years-long political logjam and the presidential vacuum. Lebanon's parliament voted its president after 2 rounds of voting, close on the heels of major push by Saudi Arabia and United States rallying lot of support for Aoun. Aoun is known to be close to Washington and Riyadh, and prior to his Thursday's parliamentary sessions, there were at least 12 failed attempts to elect a president in Lebanon over the last 2 years. Ayushi Bhatnagar gets us more.
After 12 failed attempts in a span of over 2 years, Lebanon has finally elected its president. In a parliament meeting on Thursday, Lebanon's army chief, Joseph Aoun, was voted as the new head of state, filling a post that has been vacant since Michel Aoun's term ended in October 2023. With 99 out of 128 votes, after failing to get a required majority in a first round earlier in the day, Aoun became the 5th Lebanese army commander to be elected as president in Lebanon's history. He effectively stepped down from his military role before taking oath. The legislative session was the result of a mounting international pressure for a successful outcome, with just 17 days remaining in a ceasefire to deploy Lebanese troops alongside UN peacekeepers in South Lebanon. The outcome reflected a shift in the power balance in Lebanon and the wider West Asia, with Hezbollah badly jolted by conflict with Israel and its Syrian ally Bashar al-Assad toppled in December. So, who is Joseph Aoun? General Joseph Aoun, 60 years old, has been commander of the US-backed Lebanese army since 2017. He led the military even during the times of a devastating financial crisis after the banking system collapsed in 2019. In 1983, he was enrolled in the army during Lebanon's civil war. On Aoun's watch, US aid continued to flow to the army to curb the influence of Hezbollah. Aoun has a key role in shoring up a 60-day ceasefire brokered by Washington and Paris in November. Shortly after his appointment as commander, the army executed an offensive to clear militants from an enclave at the Syrian border, drawing praise from the then US ambassador. In his first speech after being elected as the president, Joseph Aoun expressed his willingness to re-establish relations with Syria. He also vowed to rebuild all that has been destroyed by Israel in Beirut during the conflict. He also said he will work to ensure the state has the exclusive right to carry arms.
My pledge is to exercise my role as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces and Chairman of the Supreme Defense Council, that I work through them to ensure that the right to carry arms is exclusive to the state. My pledge is to rebuild what the Israeli aggression destroyed in the south, Bekaa, Denia, and all parts of Lebanon.
Iran's embassy in Beirut welcomed on Thursday the election of Lebanese President Joseph Aoun, expressing hopes for close cooperation between the two countries. But what led to the delay in electing a president? Lebanon's sectarian power-sharing system often leads to political deadlocks, with several prolonged presidential vacancies. The presidency, reserved for Maronite Christian, requires cross-sectarian consensus, which has been difficult to achieve. Deep polarization exists between Hezbollah-aligned bloc and the anti-Hezbollah factions. The requirement for a two-thirds quorum in parliament makes it challenging to elect a president without broad consensus. Lebanon is 6 years into an economic and financial crisis that decimated the country's currency and wiped out the savings of many Lebanese. But will the newly elected president be able to face these daunting challenges, apart from implementing the ceasefire agreement, remains a question. Ayushi Bhatnagar's report for DD India.
And still to come on DD India NewsHour. Coming up next, we'll be discussing the crucial role of the Indian diaspora in transforming the country into a developed nation by 2047, with special guests on the show joining us live from Bhubaneswar. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Sakal Bhatt, and before we move on, let's do a quick recap of the top stories we're tracking. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates 18th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention. Prime Minister says today's India strongly amplifies the voice of the global South. Lebanon's parliament elects Army Chief Joseph Aoun head of the state. He's the 5th Lebanese army commander to be elected as president in Lebanon's history. And rampaging wildfires around Los Angeles forced thousands to flee. 5 dead so far. New blaze reported in Hollywood Hills prompts mass evacuation. Let's go back to our top story on the importance and the significance of the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, the convention which is currently underway in India's Bhubaneswar. And we will be joined we are joined by special guests all the way from Bhubaneswar. Maitri Joshi, she is one of the panel speakers. She's from Ethiopia, joining us on the show. Thank you very much, Maitri. It's such a pleasure having you. So let me start by asking you a very simple question. I mean, it's not we have to have this conversation to understand with you the significance of the convention. We know that it was the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas was curated to celebrate India and Indians overseas, many like you. The idea of commemorating a day dedicated to these Indians to recognize your contributions as NRIs. How do you see the journey so far? And if you could just share your thoughts and your experiences from Bhubaneswar.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, firstly, for having me on the show.
It's a pleasure.
It's really a pleasure to be here. And so about the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, I can say that, it's a very well-organized event, and they have taken care of all the delegates really very well. And I think the platform is really a very good platform for networking, and you have, the kind of privilege that we are getting here to be able to meet the ministers and such great leaders, such great women, and that I think is great in itself. So my journey, this is my first time here in Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, and I've traveled all the way from Ethiopia as a panel speaker on a women panel, all women's panel, and our topic is Nari Shakti. So I'm very happy that the government of India is taking initiative to throw light on such important topics. And till now, we've had a lot of other plenary sessions like these, and they've all proven to be really very informative, not only for NRIs, but also for those who stay in India to get a view of, how do we feel, how are we, what all experiences do we get from outside. So yes, I think the platform to connect with both the ministry, the government, and also with the common people is amazing. Yes, such events are great for building a better India.
Yes, and having said that, can you share some insight as far as your panel discussion is concerned on Nari Shakti, women empowerment, not really comparing, but what all India brings to the table, and what all are you going to take back to Ethiopia?
What am I going to take back to Ethiopia? I think, the thing is, Indian women, and actually India in itself, the image of India and Indians abroad has changed tremendously in the past decade. And the way we are received abroad is also changing in a very significant way. So I have personally experienced this, that as a woman also, they've started recognizing women leaders from India internationally. So that's a great thing. So when we are working abroad, when we are talking to somebody, so as a woman, I can say, because I'm also a businesswoman and I go for meetings, and when I meet them, foreign nationals, the way they respect me is almost as equal and with so much dignity, which I think that itself is a great testament to what the government has been doing successfully for women in India. So that's a great thing.
Right. Having said that, Maiti, how do you see the convention, this in terms of going beyond celebration, as it provides a unique forum for Indian diaspora and many women business entrepreneurs like you to address their concerns and also sort of bring a fresh perspective to the table?
I think it's a great initiative. Like, this is the 18th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, and just celebrating the diaspora itself is like a festival. It's like a festival in itself. And when we go back to our countries, we are going to take back so much more about the culture and about the people. So you know, as Modi ji rightly said today in his speech also, that we are, as per him, we are also the ambassadors outside of India, ambassador for India outside India. So he urged us to always, like, you know, next time when we come back, we bring along with us another national people as well, at least 5 of them. So that, you know, these things make us feel so much more important. So this feeling of importance is very, like, you know, it's really great. It's really great.
Maiti, just requesting you to stay with us. Let me quickly go across and welcome our other panelists who also happens to be very special like you. Pleasure to have on the broadcast Dr. Lekhraj Juneja. He is in fact one of the Pravasi Bharatiya awardee this year, and he's also the chairman and CEO of Kameda Sika Corporation Limited from Japan. Thank you so much, sir. Your experiences, how do you feel at the moment? As per you, the takeaways as far as the Honorable Prime Minister's address today is concerned, you can start by talking about that.
Thank you very much for having me for this talk. And I really enjoyed Prime Minister Modi's speech today. And he told like that we are Rajdut of India. And the diaspora, the 35 million Indians are there, and getting selected for the award and felicitated by this on this day, and especially the word from Prime Minister Modi ji, I think it's the moment I'll never forget. And I had a chance to meet a lot of people today, and Prime Minister's speech was so motivated us to work more to connect India. And I live in Japan, Japan, you know. I think this Bharatiya Divas is connecting the dots all over the world. People from you know, different backgrounds like music, science, business, all sort of people are coming here and thinking about their motherland again. You know, that what can we do in our motherland?
Yes.
And the Prime Minister Modi has done a great job, and he has put, like he says, my flagship event, you know. And wherever he goes and meet different type of people, and especially the state of heads, you know, and then they talk about the people living in that country, about Indians. He says, I feel very proud of it, you know. And we were so moved by this speech, you know.
Okay, yeah, that's quite visible. That's quite visible on your face. I mean, such an overwhelming feeling. And why not? Dr. Lekhraj, how do you see Pravasi Bharatiya Divas as an extension of the diaspora events that we have had across the globe that are curated, the kind of, you know, in terms of expanse and in terms of scale? We've had diaspora events when Prime Minister visits certain countries. How do you see this? Do you see this as an extension of that or vice versa?
I was so impressed. You know, I didn't know, to be very frank with you, too much about Indian diaspora, unless I would have joined this event. I saw there was a former health minister from Malaysia. There's a president of the country. There's a CEO and chairman of a business group, the huge group, which I could never meet. You know, it's bringing all sort of people. I met a lady who was getting the award. She was in music, you know. And I think the Indians overseas, I think they have done so much accomplishment, you know. And they were, you know, this PVD, the Bharatiya Divas, is bringing all of us together to connect with each other, connect with India, connect with the motherland, you know. I think it's an amazing event, you know.
Maiti, do you want to come in here in terms of significance of the fact that India is spreading its roots and culture overseas? Indian diaspora is shining bright. As per the latest statistics, there are over 3.5 crore Indians living overseas, or maybe more. So there's a large diaspora that really relies on the Indian administration and the entities set up by the government in their resident countries. Not really relies, but there is this very beautiful collaboration and alignment.
Yes, there is. And I think I also do want to mention at this point that, as Sir rightly said before me, that the way they have curated the whole event, you know, you have exhibitions, you have cultural programs, you have different interactive sessions with the government and other kind of cultural things, which I think that also makes a lot of difference. You know, that makes this Pravasi Divas or Pravasi Divas in itself very different from other diasporic activities. You coming here and taking back so much more culturally is very significant, I feel. I'm so sorry, can you also repeat the question?
What I was trying to understand from you, significance of the fact that the Indian diaspora is not surviving but actually thriving in their...
Yes, definitely. I think in his speech, Mr. Narendra Modi also did mention this, that wherever for the past decade, wherever he goes, whichever leader he meets, they've all have been speaking very highly of the Indian community which is staying there. So that brings a lot of pride to him and a lot more pride to all of us. So I think Indian men, women both, when they go abroad and they're doing amazingly well politically, be it in science, be it in education, or be it in any other field, we are doing amazingly well in each and every country we go to. That's our speciality. I feel we just, as Indians, are so strong and very rich with our culture that we adjust and we adapt to wherever we go. And that makes us very much liked by any other national people also, to be staying in their own country. So yes, Indian people are doing amazingly well abroad.
Right. Indian people like you and like Dr. Lekhraj for Indian diaspora, would you agree India of today is very firm about ensuring the well-being of its citizens, no matter what part of the world they live in? So Pravasi Bharatiya Divas serves, do you think it serves as a source of enormous assurance to you?
No, actually, Prime Minister Modi said very clear in his message, you know, the safety of the people who live abroad of Indian origin is the most important thing for him, you know. And he really takes care of, even we are in different countries and different business we're doing, business job we're doing, you know. We were assured, you know, that there's somebody in our motherland taking care of us if something goes wrong somewhere with us, you know. And that was the moving word he said about in his speech, you know. So I'm so impressed with that, you know. So.
Okay, I am sorry I have to wrap up this discussion here, but once again, Dr. Lekhraj, congratulations for the award, and also Maiti Joshi, congratulations. You're one of the speakers in one of the panels, and welcome back home. I can use that word, and it's really pleasure having you both on the national news broadcaster DD India. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Namaskar. Let's move on to some more news and updates. US Ambassador to India, Eric Garcetti, today said that India and America are united in the fight against terrorism. Addressing a seminar in Mumbai, Garcetti expressed satisfaction over the increased intelligence sharing and cooperation between the two countries to bring perpetrators to justice.
I think all of us know that building peace is really about being able to deter war, to make sure it doesn't occur. And the greatest threat that we all face is those who would define the rules of the road based on just their raw power. And whether it's the South China Sea, here in the Indian Ocean, or the Red Sea, I think the US and India are together knowing that borders should be sacred, they should be sacrosanct, that rules are the only way to keep the peace.
Stressing the need to build economic pathways, Garcetti said the India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor can play a very important role.
I think IMEC, it's very important, and the vision laid out by India and the United States is that we have to ensure that it's built by companies who are not just state actors, heavily subsidized, creating debt traps for companies, for countries, etc. I think that we can architect this in a way that it achieves just that. So when you look at our Gulf partners, when you look at Israel, when you look at Europe, when you look at India, it is pretty clear how to do this. And when I said it's hit a bit of a pause, I didn't mean that the work has slowed down.
Well, still to come on DD India NewsHour. Coming up next, we get you a very interesting report on innovative tools that are designed to detect anxiety. They will manage your stress levels and also combat loneliness. That's a technological marvel. And India will take on Ireland in the 3-match women's ODI series starting Friday.
उछलता है दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कर आता है आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया
You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Sakal Bhatt. Let's move on now. As the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, technology is evolving beyond gadgets and entertainment. Now, it's really entering the realm of mental health with innovative tools designed to detect anxiety, manage stress, combat loneliness. Here's a report by DD India's Harshita Oberoi.
Startups from around the world are showcasing their mental wellness innovations. Swiss company Nutrix is unveiling CortiSense, a device designed to measure cortisol, the stress hormone, offering a way to monitor rising anxiety levels. French company Barracuda's BeMind, an AI-powered smart mirror, claims to be the world's first tool for mental wellness. There's also CalmiGo, a handheld device to help during panic attacks, activating the parasympathetic nervous system to regulate emotions and slow the heart rate. But the most unique entry in this mental wellness revolution is a social robot named Romy.
今日何をしようかな。じゃあ、この前行ってたカフェに行ってみるのはどう？おう、それいいね。ねえ、ラミ、見て見て。わあ、お花が喜んでるね。
Developed in Japan, Romy is an emotional support robot designed to fight feelings of isolation and loneliness. Romy is different from traditional AI. It's built to have genuine, empathetic conversations with its owner. It engages users by greeting them in the morning, welcoming them home after work, and even chatting about simple daily events like picking up bananas.
A simple example is, for a lot of people who are a bit more socially isolated, they don't have someone to really talk to, so they might go a full day without speaking. But in the morning, you can wake up and Romy will say, "Good morning." And when you're back from work, Romy will say, "Welcome home." And then you can always ask Romy questions. And unlike a normal AI that might just answer a question, Romy will actually converse with you. So something like, "Romy, I got some bananas today. Wow, they look great. Let's eat them together."
In Japan, Romy has already made a significant impact, especially in nursing homes, where socially isolated seniors face mental health challenges. Its ability to provide comforting daily interactions has proven effective in reducing feelings of loneliness and anxiety.
Romy's actually been proven to help people who are more socially isolated, anxious, and lonely, because we worked with the local governments in Japan to bring Romy to nursing homes, and it's been very popular there.
Romy's lifelike features include the ability to rotate, nod, and even make eye contact, creating a more natural interaction. With built-in cameras, it's designed to respond to visual cues, but it only stores the data as text, prioritizing privacy. While Romy is currently only available in Japan, it's already won a CES 2025 Innovation Award in the robotics category. The company is researching how to adapt Romy for international markets and different cultural contexts, signaling potential for future global expansion. Harshita Oberoi for DD India.
You're watching DD India NewsHour. It's now time to get you some sports news. The Kho Kho Federation of India has revealed the men's and women's teams for the inaugural Kho Kho World Cup. Federation President Sudhanshu Mittal said the tournament will feature advanced technology and several new initiatives. Fans can expect thrilling action in both categories.
The word goes. The Kho Kho Federation of India has announced the men's and women's teams for the first ever Kho Kho World Cup in Delhi. The event will take place from January 13th to 19th and feature 39 teams from across the globe. This tournament is a historic step towards making Kho Kho an internationally recognized sport. Fans can look forward to thrilling matches in both men's and women's categories. Speaking on the occasion, President of Kho Kho Federation of India, Sudhanshu Mittal, highlighted the technological innovations that will set new standards for the game.
So you have all the modern systems like decision review systems, TRS, completely state of art. The app, as demonstrated today, is a state of art app. You saw the e-game we've developed. So we made it a paperless operation. So these are things which for any World Cup is a dream, and we have achieved it.
The event is expected to bring global attention to one of India's most traditional sports. With non-stop action and global participation, the Kho Kho World Cup promises to be a celebration of speed, skill and strategy. Narayan Singh support for DD India, Delhi.
Smriti Mandhana-led India will take on Ireland in a three-match women's ODI series starting Friday. India will look to continue the momentum against Ireland after they swept West Indies 3-0 in the ODI series and claimed a 2-1 win in the T20s. The absence of Kaur has shifted responsibility into batters such as Harleen Deol and Jemima Rodrigues. Meanwhile, in bowling department, newcomers like Tita Sadhu and Saima Thakur will need to step up in the absence of veteran bowlers like Renuka. Ireland is led by Gabby Lewis and they will face a formidable challenge as they are yet to beat India in ODIs. Defending champion Jannik Sinner is up against big-hitting Nicholas Jarry in his opening match of the Australian Open, while Novak Djokovic could clash with Carlos Alcaraz in the quarterfinals. Women's champion Irina Sabalenka begins her title defense against Sloane Stephens. The first Grand Slam of the year is slated to kick off on January 12th in Melbourne, where best players will compete for the top honours.
The draws for the first Grand Slam event of 2025 have been announced. In the men's category, defending champion Jannik Sinner begins his campaign at the Australian Open against Nicolas Jarry, while Carlos Alcaraz launches his bid to capture the Grand Slam when he meets Alexander Shevchenko. Novak Djokovic hits the ground running when he takes on US wildcard Nishesh Basavareddy. Djokovic has been handed a tough draw. In the third round, Djokovic could face big serving Rally Opelka, while Alcaraz is a potential opponent in the quarterfinals. Nick Kyrgios of Australia is due to take on Jacob Farley. Local boy Alex de Minaur has a difficult opener against Dutchman Botic van der Zanzo. In the women's category, Ariana Sabalenka kicks off her title defense against American Sloane Stephens, while Iga Swiatek has been handed an easier assignment against Katarzyna Siniakova. World number 3, Coco Gauff, faces 2020 Australian Open winner Sofia Kenin. Two times champion Naomi Osaka meets Frenchwoman Caroline Garcia. Paris Olympic gold medalist Zhang Qimen and Jasmine Paolini meet qualifiers in the opening matches. The Australian Open is scheduled to take place from 12 to 26 January, where best players will compete in singles, doubles and mixed doubles events for coveted titles. Sports Desk, DD India.
Well, the only Indian in the singles category, Sumit Nagal, will be up against Thomas Machak in the opening round of the Australian Open. Nagal is currently ranked 96th in the ATP rankings. He secured a spot in the main draw last year. Nagal defeated Alexander Bublik in straight sets in the opening round. 24-year-old Machak won the gold medal in mixed doubles at the Paris Olympics with Katerina Sinaoka. He stunned four-time major winner Carlos Alcaraz in the quarterfinals of the Shanghai Masters last year. The two players have never faced each other. In the Malaysia Open Badminton Tournament, India's pair of Chirag Shetty and Satvik Sairaj Rankireddy advanced to the quarterfinals in Kuala Lumpur on Thursday. The duo beat Malaysian pair of Nur Mohammad Azin Ayub and Tan Wee Keong in straight sets 21-15, 21-15. Earlier, women's pair of Teresa Jolly and Gayatri Gopichand exited the competition after losing to China's Zhang Xuan and Jia Yifan 21-15, 18-21, 19-21 in the round of 16. And over in the men's singles, Indian shuttler HS Pranoy lost to China's Li Shifeng in the pre-quarterfinals. Shifeng beat Pranoy 21-80, 21-8, 15-21, 23-21. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Sakal Bhatt, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for tuning in to DD India News Hour.